In this video, we shall review some basic concepts of vector spaces. We first encounter vectors in our 12th class. There we define vector as a physical quantity that has a magnitude and a direction. And geometrically, we represent a vector by an arrow whose length is its magnitude and whose direction represents the direction of the vector. And we add two vectors by parallelogram law. If A and B are represented by two adjacent sides of a parallelogram, then their sum is represented by the diagonal. That means if these are A and B, then this diagonal represents the sum of these two vectors A and B. Now this vector addition satisfies the following four properties. This vector addition is commutative. This vector addition is associative, and there exists zero vector such that a plus 0 and 0 plus a is same as the vector a, and for each vector a we have its negative inverse. If we add a and minus a, then we get the zero vector. This minus a is the additive inverse of a. Then we have scalar multiplication also. Remember, ordinary multiplication is repeated addition of numbers, and scalar multiplication is repeated vector addition. If we add a by itself by triangle law, then we will get a plus a, and this vector a plus a has magnitude twice of the magnitude of a and has the same direction as the direction of a. So we denote this a plus a simply by 2a. So motivated from this, we define scalar multiplication of vectors and a scalar as follows. So given any vector a and a non-zero scalar lambda, the vector lambda a is a vector whose magnitude is lambda times the magnitude of vector a and whose direction is that of the direction of a if lambda is positive, and it is opposite to a if lambda is negative. This scalar multiplication also satisfies four properties: that alpha times a plus b is same as alpha times a plus alpha times b, alpha plus beta times a is alpha times a plus beta times a, and alpha beta a is alpha times beta times a. And if we multiply the vector a by the scalar 1, then 1 times a is a. So these physical quantities that we are calling vectors satisfy these 8 properties, and there are many other algebraic systems that also satisfy these 8 properties with respect to addition and scalar multiplication. For example, if we take matrices, polynomials, tuples, these all satisfy these 8 properties. So we now formally define this type of structure as follows. We have a non-empty set V. We call V a vector space over a field F if for each u, v, w in V and alpha beta in F. This is just a kind of operation on V. We are denoting it by plus, and alpha times u. This is another operation. Alpha is a scalar, u is coming from the set V. These two again belong to V, and these two operations, addition and this multiplication, satisfy these 8 properties. These are the same properties that we have already seen. So if V is such a set and it satisfies these properties with respect to these two operations, then we call V a vector space over a field F. Examples are all 2 by 3 matrices over R, they form a vector space over R. In fact, you can take any m by n matrices. If we define addition as follows, you know how to define addition of two matrices, and this is multiplication of a scalar with a matrix. All polynomials of degree less equal to 3, they become vector space under this addition and under this scalar multiplication. all three tuples over R. If we add two tuples in this way, they are added this way, and scalar multiplication is defined this way. The set of all these three tuples we denote by R cube. So R cube is having these type of elements. In general, we can define Rn. Rn will contain n tuples, and these are small results from vector spaces that we can cancel u from left hand side. U plus v equal to u plus w implies v equal to w. We can cancel u from left hand side, and similarly we can cancel u also from right hand side. If we multiply a vector by zero scalar, then we get the zero vector. Minus alpha times u is equal to minus of alpha times u, and this is also equal to alpha times minus of u, and alpha times 0 vector is 0 vector. A subset W of V is called a subspace of V if W itself is a vector space with respect to the same operations of addition and scalar multiplication. For example, if we have this vector space of three tuples R cube, and W is this set consisting of three tuples of this type, third coordinate is always 0, then it becomes a vector space with respect to the same operations. So W is a subspace of V. If we take V vector space polynomials of degree less equal to 4, then the set of all polynomials of degree less equal to 3 is a subset of V, and it's a vector space with respect to the same operations. So W is also a subspace of V. We have these small results. W is a subspace of V if and only if U plus V belongs to W, and alpha U belongs to W for all U V in W and alpha in F. Intersection of subspaces is a subspace. Any number of subspaces we can take. These two conditions are equivalent to this single condition that alpha U plus beta V belongs to W for all U V in W and alpha beta scalars. Then we have linear combination of vectors. So we have n vectors in a vector space V and n scalars. This type of expression alpha 1 v1 plus alpha 2 v2 up to alpha n vn is called a linear combination of v1 v2 vn. Now if all these scalars are 0, alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n are 0, then definitely this linear combination is 0, because 0 into any vector is 0. So if we take all these scalars 0, then it kill the linear combination. So 0 scalars always kill the vectors, but it may happen that non-zero scalars also kill the vectors. For example, killing means just having the 0 vector. Consider these two matrices 3000 and minus 20000. Now if we multiply this matrix with 2 and this matrix with 3, these are non-zero scalars, and if we take their linear combination, then we get that this is equal to 0 matrix. So non-zero scalars may also kill the vectors. So we say that these two scalars 2 and 3 are killing these two vectors. But there are some vectors that can be killed by only 0 scalars. For example, consider these two tuples 1 0 and 0 1. These are coming from the vector space R square, and suppose there exists two scalars alpha and beta such that alpha times 1 0 plus beta times 0 1 is 0 0. Now if we simplify this left hand side, we get that alpha beta is equal to 0 0. So that means alpha is 0 and beta is 0. So these two vectors 1 0 and 0 1 are killed by alpha and beta only if alpha and beta both are 0. So these vectors cannot be killed by non-zero scalars. Such vectors are called linearly independent vectors. So now we define what are linear independent vectors and linearly dependent vectors. N vectors in a vector space are called linearly dependent if there exist scalars alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n and not all of them are 0, and if this expression becomes 0, linear combination of these n vectors is 0, then we say that these n vectors are linearly dependent. That means if they are killed by non-zero scalars, then we call vectors linearly dependent. But if this does not happen, that means vectors are killed by only the zero scalars, then we say that vectors are linearly independent. So these two vectors which were killed by 2 and 3 are linearly dependent, but these vectors 1 0 and 0 1, these are linearly independent. Then we have span of a set. We have a non-empty subset S of a vector space V. Span of S is the set of all linear combination of elements of S, and we denote the span of S by this symbol. So span of S contains all linear combinations of elements of S, all possible linear combination. For example, consider V vector space of two tuples and S contains only one vector 1 0, then span of S will be alpha times 1 0, where alpha is a real number, and if S contains two vectors 1 0 and 0 1, then span of S contains these linear combinations. There is a result that says that span of a set is always a subspace of V. Then we have definition of basis. A subset B of a vector space V is called a basis of V if B is linearly independent and B spans V. Span of B becomes the whole of V. For example, these two vectors 1 0 and 0 1, they form a basis of R square. We have already seen that these two are killed by only 0 scalars, so these are linearly independent. Now we show that they span R square. That means every element of R square can be written as a linear combination of these two vectors. So pick a vector in R square. Then we can write down xy as x times 1 0 plus y times 0 1, and so 1 0 and 0 1 span R square. This set 1xx square is a basis of vector space of all polynomials of degree less equal to 2, because any polynomial can be written as a linear combination of these three vectors. A 2-degree polynomial can be written this way: alpha times 1 plus beta times x plus gamma times x square, and 1x x square are linearly independent also, because if you take this linear combination equal to 0, now this right hand side is 0 is a 0 polynomial. So a polynomial is 0 if all coefficients are 0. So alpha, beta, gamma must be 0. So this shows that this set B is linearly independent. And so B spans this vector space and hence B is a basis of V. So basis is the intersection of two sets, linearly independent sets and spanning sets, and this is the basis sets. Then we have this result that every basis of a vector space has the same number of elements. We can have different bases, but the number of elements in basis is always same. And another result is that if v1 v2 vn is a basis of vector space V, then every vector in V can be uniquely written in this way. We can write V as a combination of v1 v2 vn, and these scalars alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha n will be uniquely determined by V. We call a vector space finite dimensional if it has a basis consisting of finite number of vectors. This unique number of basis vectors is called the dimension of V. For example, the vector space R square has dimension 2. This is its basis. This is another basis. If V is 0 vector space consisting of only 0 vector, then its basis we take empty set. Then we have this result that if W is a subspace of V, we write this way: W is a subspace of V, then dimension of W is less equal to dimension of V. And if dimension of W is equal to dimension of V, then W is equal to V. And just like in group theory we have studied finite groups, we will study only finite dimensional vector spaces.